All right, so Bo Picard, you got Edward in the back, you got Danny. Wonderful audience today. I'm going to show you my speech. Here we go. So, over 3 million lives have been saved by helicopters in both peacetime and wartime operations since the first person was rescued from the sea in 1944. As you can tell, today we're going to be talking about helicopters and the military role. It's going to be a very interesting topic, yet some people might not realize it. The topics I'm going to be talking about today is going to be the history of helicopters. I will be given a brief overview of a handful of iconic military helicopters. And after that, we're going to see about the future of helicopters in combat. I've been researching this topic for over a month now. I'm very interested in military history and military technology. I feel like I'm very qualified to talk about this topic. And now, after we got that out of the way, we are going to dive into the history of military helicopters. So the first time helicopters have been seen in combat was during the Korean War. During the Korean War, they found numerous roles that they never thought helicopters could play into. So you have the medical role, you have a combat role, and you have a transport and intel role. According to Aviastar.org, the helicopter was first used to evacuate the wounded. This was a revolutionary thing at the time because it either required medics on the ground or it required vehicles to pull the wounded out. Now, a helicopter can land right by them, get them in, and be working on them while they're going back to the hospital. So, after the Korean War, the U.S. went into the Vietnam War. One of the biggest parts of the Vietnam War was the movement of troops. And this was accomplished with the Bell UH-1, or the Huey. A article by Laura Hillard called "When I Have Your Wounded" talks about that exactly. People moving troops to and from a combat situation. And then during the Vietnam War, it also saw the first ever gunship. A gunship is a helicopter built solely on having weapons on it to, hit the enemy. So the first gunship was a Bell helicopter outfitted with missiles, miniguns, M60 machine guns, anything that the Air Force had to arm it, it armed it. Soon after that, the Cobra was made. The Cobra was a two-seater helicopter, and its one job was to hunt down the enemy. So now you got a little history about helicopters. Let's go into a couple iconic ones that you may have heard of. The first one is the Bell UH-1. It looks something like this. Very nice. It was first used during the Vietnam War. A article called "The Last Huey" by Philip Beidler stated that the public popularity of Huey is brought by the media. The media during the Vietnam War was the first ever television war, and it brought a lot of good and bad scenes from the war, and a lot of it was about the Huey helicopter. So if you just say Vietnam War, the first thing you might think of is a Huey helicopter flying through the air. Pilots liked the Huey because of their durability and their handling. And not only that, it was very, very sturdy, very fast, and it worked very well. So now that we talked about the Bell, let's move on to the Black Hawk. The Black Hawk is a direct descendant from the helicopter, the Bell UH-1 Huey helicopter. The Black Hawk was built to replace the Huey, and it took all the things that were good and put it to better use. It was made famous by the battle in Somalia, where it helped with the phrase "Black Hawk Down." So again, the media played a bigger role in the popularity of that helicopter. After the Black Hawk, we will move on to the Apache, the AH-64 Apache. And the Apache was designed with one thing and one thing only: kill Russian tanks. It was the direct descendant during the Cold War of the Russian armor being more and more improved and more capable than ever before. It worked very well. It got its first real taste during the Gulf War, where it took out a lot of Saddam's armor very, very easily at night, all weather conditions. It was fantastic. So that is a couple of iconic helicopters. Now we got that out of the way, let's move to the future of helicopters in the military. The first thing we're going to talk about is the V-22 Osprey. The Osprey is a very, very interesting vehicle. It can take off and land just like a helicopter, but during flight, it can turn its rotors forward and fly just like a normal airplane. Very revolutionary, very, very new. It can take off and land just like a helicopter, like I said. And the how I learned how it works was from Roles, Policies, and the Survival of the V-22 Osprey by Christopher Jones. Not only is Osprey coming into the age of helicopters, but drone helicopters was stated from the Formal Modeling and Verification of Operational Flight Program and a Small-Scale Unarmed Helicopter by Dong-Ah Lee. It states the benefits of unmanned flight. So pilots do not have to fly into dangerous situations. Drones can fly longer, fly faster, and stay out in the field a lot longer than a human can. And not only that, it will just take away the risk of human life. So, to wrap everything up, I hope you guys can realize the history of military helicopters, recognize a couple of iconic ones, and grasp the future of military helicopters. My name is Bo, and I'm glad that you enjoyed this video. Thank you.
Yeah, 6 minutes on the dot.